So, hi everyone. I want to talk to you about Copilot and why it's not just a fancy chatbot. So, you've probably heard about Microsoft Copilot, probably seen it show up in Word or your Outlook toolbar. But you know what? If you think Copilot is just Microsoft's version of ChatGPT, you're missing the real opportunity. In this video, I'll show you exactly what Copilot is and why it's not a chatbot. We'll break down how it works, how it's different from ChatGPT, and how it powers users like consultants, analysts, HR, administrators, just to name a few, product managers, and how they are empowered and how they are quietly using it to reclaim hours every single week, because it's that productivity tool that will do the jobs that you hate and give you more time to be more creative in your role. So by the end of this, you'll understand why Copilot is not just about writing faster, it's about working smarter inside the tools you already use, right? So let's clear up some confusion here. Copilot isn't a standalone application. It sits within the applications that you use and breathe with today in Microsoft. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, Loop, and even OneNote. Let me show you what I mean, because seeing is believing, as they say. So I'm just going to share my screen and show you what Copilot looks like in a couple of Office examples. I don't know which ones we'll pick. Let's see. Let's go into Copilot in Word. Microsoft Word, we all use Word, most of us anyway. So you can see I've opened up my Word document and you can see Copilot is sat right over there. I click on the little icon over here and I can start using it. I can start using the prompts against this document if I want to use it in that scenario. So many scenarios you can use it for. Equally, if I'm an Excel user, or if you're an Excel user, I should say, there's a Copilot in Excel. I open up Excel, you can see the pop-up is here. I've got some suggested prompts and it just reiterates what I said at the beginning, that it lives and breathes within the applications that you're using every day. But you know what? I think to better get an understanding of Copilot, let me show you a couple of prompts of it in action, right? But before I do that, I just want to talk a bit more about how it works from a technical perspective. So Copilot, it's technically using the same OpenAI model as ChatGPT, like ChatGPT 4.0. I think there's a 4.50, I think. But anyway, look, it's using the same chatbot, but it's under the hood. It's powered by Microsoft Graph, which means it's completely secure, it's enterprise ready, and it's tuned into your data. So unlike ChatGPT, it doesn't really second guess. It doesn't just respond to prompts like ChatGPT. It acts based on your calendar, on your emails, on your documents, on your meetings. So Copilot will know what projects you're working on, what correspondence you've had with your co-workers, what meetings you've attended in the last week and you want to get insights in, which version of the slide deck you're working on. So it really will understand all the context, it will understand it based on your persona. So that's a key difference. Whereas ChatGPT, it'll only respond to what you put in the chat, but it won't know what role you are, who you've been engaging with, what projects you have going, and what emails do you need to respond to, because they're more critical than others. So Copilot really is that your corporate companion, your office companion, because it knows where you are in your workplace. Let me give you some examples now, right? So I'm just going to share my screen again, bear with me. In fact, you know what? The first example I'm going to show you you don't actually use a prompt. You just click on a button. So you can delay your prompting for a few moments, but eventually you're going to need to prompt, right? But the good thing about it, you can even use it without having much knowledge in prompting for some scenarios. So let's go ahead with this. I am going to go into a document. So I'm in my OneDrive and I've got all the documents that I've got saved personally with me. So in this scenario here, someone has shared a document with me. I've saved it in my OneDrive, and then now I'm just going to go back into it later on and have a look. You notice how when I scroll down the list of documents in my OneDrive, there's an icon there, Copilot icon. So even without opening a document, I can use Copilot to give me some insights to that document. So for this particular document, which is an agreement, a contract agreement, I can click on the Copilot icon here and I can ask it to summarize the document for me without even opening it. Or I can ask it to create an FAQ, or I could ask it a question. So let's go with summarize. What it will do now, it'll just work on your request. As you can see, it always gives you that prompt. So it tells you what it's up to. You have an idea of how long it's going to take. As you can see, it's already started summarizing the document. It's about a merger, the parties involved in the merger. The effective date will take place on 1st of September. Board of directors, there are 6 directors, etc. So, it's given me some really good insights. I haven't had to open the document, right? But I can go a step further. I can even ask it a question. If I click on ask a question, you will see there are some pre-canned prompts that I can use. So things like highlight key financial terms of the merger, explain the indemnity provision in detail. So I've got prompts that I can leverage if I don't want to type anything, right? And that's a great starting point, I would say, because it's a great way to start seeing, what the power of Copilot in terms of how it goes through that document, goes through it for you without you having to read it line by line. So in this particular case, it doesn't mention any termination clauses, the agreements, etc., etc. I wouldn't read it line for line. You get the idea. So you can see how I can use Copilot, and this example I've shown you, I've just simply clicked on some buttons, and I've even used some of the templated prompts, But of course, if I wanted to, I could also type a few prompts of my own, such as things like, what are the risks? What risks are associated? If I can spell associated, that is. But on that front, actually, Copilot it can interpret what you're saying. If you spell, it doesn't mind typos. And if you're in a real hurry, like I tend to be sometimes, I just type away. I see the typo, but I just say, nah, it's going to know what I mean. And so I don't get too hung up on typos. You may be different and you want to make sure the spelling is correct beforehand. You can do, of course. So what are the risks associated with this contract, with this document? Hit return. It's going to work on my request, combing through the document, and then you can see regulatory approvals, integration and challenges, etc. So you can see how I haven't read the document. I've just used Copilot to answer specific questions I have against that document. And that's exactly what it can do. Another scenario I'll show you. Suppose you've been on vacation. We all like a vacation, right? Who doesn't, So you've been on vacation for a couple of weeks and you just need to find out what correspondence has been happening between yourself and any company that you've been working with, that you just want to find out what's the latest on this company since I've been on holiday. So again, you can see how Copilot can do that. So for this scenario, I'm going to go to Copilot in Outlook and I just click on the Copilot icon there and I just say, let's just paste it here. And there we go. So summarize the last 15 emails from Microsoft and suggest responses based on the conversation. Please place the results in a table for ease of viewing. So that's quite a pretty loaded prompt. But I thought, let's go in quite deep, because I want you to really see the kind of things it can do. So I'm asking it to go through 15 emails, or the last 15 emails, suggest responses to those emails based on the conversations, and then place the results in a table for ease of viewing. So, instead of going through each email, drafting the response, then the next one, in theory, well, not in theory, factually, you're going to see this happen now. It's going to do it for me in just a click. So I want to do that. And you can see now it's searching the last 15 emails from Microsoft. Here's a summary of the last 15 emails you received. So the topic, it's categorized the emails into various topics. It's given me a summary and it's suggested a response where applicable, no action needed in this particular one. Copilot monthly updates. Let me just go to the bottom here and it's still working away, as you can see. Still working away. You could go and have a coffee, tea, water, herbal tea while it does this for you. And that's the beauty of it, It's doing that thing. You probably still have the holiday blues, so you're not quite ready to dive into those emails. So let your AI assistant separate the noise from the real things that need doing in your 120 emails or whatever number it is that you encounter when you've been on vacation. But you can see here, right, so I've got several responses It's summarized the emails. It's given me a summary, whether an action is needed, and any draft response. So, and again, it also gives you references. So it will give you give me a reference of where that email is. And again, it's not just guessing. It's almost validating or proving to you that it's got that response based on what it's seen in your inbox. So it's literally going in there. You can see that's the email there in the tooltip. I could actually open it and you can see that's the email over there that it's referring to. So it's seen the features, it's given me the summary, and it's even given me a summary of the response I could email back. Hi Microsoft support, I'd like to confirm that my Copilot are set to renew his plan. Please let me know if any action is needed, or the update, this email here, which was an update on Teams chats and channel updates. Appreciate the update. I'll explore the new Teams layout. Are there any short videos or tips that can help to customize the experience quickly? So two quick scenarios, but hopefully that shows to you how quickly you can use Copilot to be productive in your work. You can see how in the two examples I showed you, it wasn't guessing, it was responding to my prompts, it was leveraging the information that it has in my M365 tenant. It looked at my emails, it looked at my Teams, it looked at my conversations, and it did it quite quickly. And even the previous example I showed you, I didn't actually do a type of a prompt. I just clicked on a button and it started summarizing it away. So you can see it's very good in that respect. So if you're someone who works in finance, you're a number cruncher, there's Copilot in Excel for you. If you're in marketing, there's Copilot in Word and in PowerPoint, I beg your pardon, and Word. If you're in a paralegal, there's Copilot in Teams that can automatically capture the transcript and then allow you to use Copilot to understand who said what and when and so on. So it gives you that leverage inside the ecosystem you already live in, whether it's a Word, Excel, or Teams. And you know what? The best part of it is that you don't need to be technical. As you saw in the screen shares I shared with you, I didn't do anything. No coding, no configuring, no switching platforms. I just empowered myself to use an AI agent, AI capabilities in the platform that I'm comfortable with, that I'm working in every day. So that's exactly the good thing about it. So if you're in any of these roles, to begin to name a few, I genuinely believe that Copilot is applicable to all roles in an organization. All roles, there's something there that it can do for you in that space. So I just want to also now cut any misconceptions or myths that you may hear. I mean, I hear myths all the time when I speak with Copilot, when I speak with individuals who are thinking of rolling out Copilot. The first myth, Copilot is just another ChatGPT in Word. Well, it definitely isn't, it's not just limited to Word. It doesn't work in isolation. It's connected to your actual work, right? It's literally connected so it knows what you're doing. It responds to your queries and it bases those responses on the work you've done in the past, the documents you've worked with. So it really isn't just an isolated experience. It will leverage other areas of your business where your data lives, and it will bring that information out in an effective manner so that you get the best response to your prompt. Second myth, it's only used for coders or for the technical team. Again, that's not true. Copilot was designed for business users. So for project managers, I mentioned some roles earlier on. If you're HR paralegal, if you're a project manager, if you're an operations lead, if you're a marketing analyst, it's literally for all roles, It's IT technical roles may be the ones to first experience Copilot, and that's just how organizations work. But the real value is the fact that it can empower all roles within an organization, not just technical roles. Okay, now the third myth, the outputs are generic or wrong. Now, this comes down to the prompts you type in, right? If you type in a really vague prompt, such as, can you show me all emails from last year? That's a vague prompt. If you type that in Copilot in Outlook, it will bring back the emails from last year, but you won't have any value from that response because You haven't said what you want from the emails from last year. So, it's all about the accuracy of your prompt. So if your prompt is structured, the more structured the prompt is, the more information you put in it, the more targeted it is, the more accurate your response will be. The response you'll get. So you will definitely see a lot of more benefits on it. So this may be the first time you're exploring Copilot, right? This may be the first time you're trying to really understand what Copilot is. So what I recommend to you is that start with one workflow. Maybe it's drafting a client's email, or maybe it's writing meeting summaries, or, use it for one real task and measure the time you save. And I really want to hear from you. So please drop a comment below. And I have a question, a little challenge for you. What's the one recurring task that Copilot could automate for you? Put it in the comments below, and I'll pick a few and show you how to build them out in upcoming videos. That way you'll get true value. I really want to engage and go with you on this journey in terms of how you can use Copilot effectively. So let's see you next week. So don't forget to subscribe now, and I'll see you next week. In my next video, I'll show you what it's like to work from end to end using Copilot, a full end-to-end working day. So using Copilot across Teams, Word, Planner, name a few. I'll just give you a real life example so that you can see how Copilot can help in these spaces. And I'll give you some real world tips as well. So looking forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.